Merry Christmas, everyone. Cheers. First of the day. Well, not quite. Oh, dear me. It's finally here. In some ways, it seems to have been, because that when you first start hearing the Christmas tunes in the shops, about the end of October, don't you? And it seems to drag on forever until the day actually comes. But in many other ways, it seems like it was just the blink of an eye, and it was last Christmas. But then again, that's a sign that you're getting old, isn't it? That the Christmases seem to come around quicker and quicker. So how are we all doing, everyone? Has Santa been generous? I got this shirt. What do you think? Jem Jarvis, who's in the chat there, he bought me this. Thanks, Jem. As you can tell, this room, which is normally my workplace, is very much a spare bedroom at the moment. You can see the kind of the fold down bed down there behind me, and Jem's staying with us this Christmas, and my lovely wifey is about to head out for work for a 4-hour shift. She's just working up the road at the taxi office, and just doing a few hours up there, and I'm under strict instructions not to get too drunk by the time she comes home. I've got to have a big gammon Christmas dinner ready by the time she comes home at 4 p.m. this afternoon, so we shall see how things pan out, eh? So let's have a look and see who we've got in. Let's see who's joining us this Merry Christmas morning. We've got Anton, just planning my excuses to get out of the kitchen. Cal B, Johnny Random, Vincent Doyle, David Evans. Who else we got? Ian Clark, more practice or the live stream? Decisions. Yeah, you're allowed to kind of relax on Christmas Day, Ian. Peter Collins, Peter S, Jem Jarvis, Ben Quirk, Scott Guitars, Merry Christmas, Dan, Chris Ottewell, Nancy Davis, and who else we got? Nightwish Lover, Steve Hoggart, Merry Christmas, Steve, Fun-Loving Ramekin, and Cornucopia, the Essex Cat, and who else we got? Mindboggle 100. So, 45 of you joining me on this Merry Christmas morning. Thank you so much for turning up. Sorry there was no live stream last night, but I thought I'd rather do it today when we can all swap stories. So I saw someone in the chat there had said today was a new guitar day, so I'm presuming Santa brought someone a new guitar. Colin Falcon, bar humbug, chaps. I've got a hat that says that, but it's downstairs at the moment. I should have worn it for the stream, shouldn't I? Johnny Random's off to the daughters for some gammon. Yes, we don't always have like the full on Christmas dinner. I mean, some years we have a curry, some years we have steak and chips. I think last year we had. Oh, thank you very much, Con. You're a gentleman and a scholar. But we're actually having a roast chicken dinner tomorrow. But today there's this gammon recipe that I do that's really rather nice. So I thought we'd have that for Christmas dinner, which will be sort of this evening at some point. Keeping out of the kitchen for my own safety. Let's put you up on screen there, Les. Merry Christmas, John. Thanks for all your videos. Well, thank you for watching. I wouldn't be, what use is any YouTube channel without people watching the videos? And it's because of you chaps who, subscribe and watch the videos and make comments and everything that the channel's doing, better than I ever hoped it would. So thank you, one and all. It is massively, massively appreciated. So who else we got in? Nightwish Lover, let's see what you're talking about there. New guitar day on Thursday for my daughter, Sire Larry Carlton acoustic for her 21st. Oh, well, you can't go far wrong with that, Nightwish. Fantastic. Happy Christmas, John. Santa brought me Omicron COVID for Christmas, but hey, it could be worse. Please have a drink on me. I will, Brad. I will. I shall do that now with your permission. And thank you for the generous, kind of tip there. Much appreciated, mate. Malcolm's off, is he? Morning, I have to say happy Christmas and leave. My wife is just about to come out of intensive care. I'm off to the hospital. Well, give her our best wishes, Malcolm. I'm sure I speak for all of us here when we wish her a speedy recovery. And you have a great Christmas with your missus once you get to home, mate. Look after her. My exotic Christmas dinner will be soup in a basket with croutons. Well, why not? It's whatever takes your fancy, isn't it? I mean, personally, I know this might be a little bit sort of Grinch-like or Scrooge-like, but I'm not really that fond of turkey. It has to be said. I don't think it's a particularly nice tasting meat. I think I'd rather have chicken. I'd rather have steak. I'd rather have curry, to be honest with you, than a turkey Christmas dinner. But then again, I'd rather have curry than pretty much anything else. So let's have a look in the chat, see what else I've been missing. Here we go. Yeah, bar humbug chaps, says Colin Falcon. You're not joining in the spirit of it, are you, Colin? Yeah, so we're talking about new guitars there. I just saw, I don't know if you saw it yourself, I think it was up yesterday, Guitarista's review of the Sire Larry Carlton T7 Telecaster guitar. Oh, do you know what? I was tempted last night. I really was. I was tempted, but I'd had a drink and, I thought, no, just kind of ease off until you're sober, basically, because we've all done it, haven't we? Getting the old plastic out and hitting buy it now when you've had a few drinks, and you can live to regret that. But he gave it a glowing review. And, I've got the Strat, the S7, and really properly happy with that. It's the guitar that made me kind of, get back into Strats, really. And, so I'm just thinking, well, the Telecaster's got to be right up my alley, hasn't it? So I am definitely thinking. Where are we? Ordered a new, let's put you up on screen there, because I can read it easier on screen, Anton. Ordered a new Yamaha THR30 amp before Christmas, but won't arrive until February. Chip shortage? Possibly. That's another thing I'm looking at, actually, is I am going to be setting this room up a little bit different come the new year. I'm going to be looking at getting like a torpedo captor 2 notes kind of thing, so I can do amp tests as well. So I've been looking at amps, and I have to say the amp I'm really looking at seriously at the moment is the Fender Champion 40. It's only a budget amp. It's only about 150 quid, but I've not heard anything but great reviews of it. And people are saying this thing stacks up well against, things that cost many times more. I love the fact that it's got just different voicings on it as well. You've got a tweed voicing, you've got a blackface voicing, I think, British and metal. I doubt I'll be going anywhere near the metal voicings on it, but what I've heard of it, I am very impressed with the sounds it produces, and as I say, it's ridiculously cheap. So drunk and eBay has been my downfall on many occasions. There was one time when I really thought I had done that. It was after one of the Friday live streams when somebody in the chat had asked, what do you think of the Harley Benton HB35? And I said, lovely guitar, I used to have one. Well, why did you get rid of it then? And I told the story that basically I had to sell it to pay for a vet's bill for the dog. And Next morning, Saturday morning, I'm a bit bleary-eyed because I'd had a few on the Friday, as you do. And there's an email there for me. Thank you for your order from Tom. What have I done? Anyway, it turns out it was a very generous chap called Bob, who'd been touched by the fact that I'd sold a guitar to pay for the dog's vet's bill. And he just went and bought me one. So what a generous chap. Les Robinson's on the first Merry. I didn't know you could still get Merry Down, Les. I'd never heard, I haven't seen that in years. That was the preloading drink that you used to drink when you were as a student when you were going out, wasn't it? You know, get a bottle of Merry Down inside of you and then go out, and you were kind of you were already halfway there. Oh, let's put you up on screen there, Dan. John, I have an as new Twiggy Blues I can send you to give away on the channel if you like. Just setting a pedal board and don't need it. That's very, very generous. We may just raffle that for Zoe's place. I reckon, if I do because what's a Twiggy Blues worth? About 60 quid. I reckon if you stand a chance of winning a 60 quid piece of kit by buying a £5 raffle ticket, then we should get a few entries, and that should raise a fair bit of money for Zoe's. So yes, Dan, yes, we'll ping some emails. Oh, Kieran's in. How are you, Kieran? Have you seen 5 Watt World's History of the Guitars of Get Back? No, I've seen the thumbnail of it, but I've not had a chance to sit and watch it yet. Because one thing about 5 Watt World videos is that they always say a short history of, and it's usually interesting. It's often very, kind of informative, but it's very rarely a short history, is it? He does. It's about half an hour, which is, not a short YouTube video, but I shall be watching that at some point over the next few days, I imagine. The Fender Nashville Telly doesn't get much playtime lately, though. See it over your left shoulder. Yes, I have been, I do feel a bit guilty about that. I've been playing it a bit more in lessons, I have to say, over the past couple of weeks, really. But it is going to have to start making an appearance in videos again soon, I think. Well spotted, yes. How are you, Kieran? Anyway, happy Christmas, mate. Yes, Night Wish Lover's got bad memories of Merry Down. Just had to withdraw a drunken eBay offer from last night on some Edifier speakers. Not expensive, but not the ones with Bluetooth I wanted. Are you allowed to do that on eBay? Are you allowed to kind of, reason for withdrawal of bid? I was drunk. It's. I don't think that is in the drop-down menu, is it? I don't think that's one of the options that you can tick. I've told you we're having gammon today, and I see somebody else is having soup in a basket earlier. So what's everyone else having? Are we all? Is there a big, kind of traditional element here? Is it the turkey? Is it the goose? Or are you kind of playing it original? What's going on for Christmas lunch in your houses? Roast beef for Kieran. Here's the thing, I can never cook roast beef. I either get, with roast beef, with me, it's either it comes out of the oven, so underdone that a decent vet would have it back on its feet in half an hour, or, it's you leave it in 30 seconds longer and it's shoe leather and it's dry and rubbery, and, whatever the knack is of cooking roast beef, I just do not have it. So I just gave up trying. 160 degrees on low and slow. But yeah, that's the thing. It does help if you've got an oven where you can actually set the temperature. Ours is basically on or off. it has a temperature dial on it, but unless you kind of crank it all the way up, nothing cooks. And we need a better oven, I think. You're able to get your friend an Epiphone Studio. Well, you're generous with your Christmas gifts. Yeah, Ian, we had the full English fry up this morning, mate. Sausage, bacon, eggs, beans, toast, the whole works. And I doubt I'll need anything till this evening, but that doesn't mean I won't be scoffing in the meantime, because you've got to have something to soak up the beer. I'm only on the Carling, by the way, because it was just easier to bring a few cans up to the live stream rather than a big keg of beer. We've got I think 3 kegs of Theakston's Best in the backyard there, so we'll be getting into those throughout the rest of the day. Oh, Anton's doing the traditional turkey, but more to the point, once a year drinking all day. Yes, it is. It's the one day a year when you can be on the beer at 11 o'clock in the morning, and people just go, oh, you've entered the spirit of things. You've got the Christmas spirit. Any other day of the year, 364 other days of the year, and you'd get called an alcoholic. But it's allowed on a day like this. Speaking of, if you'll excuse me, I just need to recharge my glass. What's that, Stuart? Oh, Stuart. Merry Christmas, John. Best wishes for the new year. Where's your musical director? Keeping out the limelight or just not sober? Yes, Stuart, I think you're referring to Jem. He's downstairs watching this very live stream on the laptop. So, Jem, if you're watching, and I know you are, can you just make sure that gammon doesn't need topping up? Don't let it boil dry, mate. Asleep by 3:30 p.m. Well, there may be a nana nap at some point. I can't rule it out. But that's what the day's about, isn't it? John, the former chef in me says a piece of meat is already tough before cooking. If it was cut against the grain like a steak, as well done, doesn't mean to. Okay, well that's something to bear in mind, David. I didn't know you used to be a chef, mate. No end to your talents. Super flake, yes. Well, it's the Carl. Mind you, you should see the first pour out of one of these kegs. These little mini kegs that you can get to do at home. The first pour out of one of those is like a flake on steroids. Merry down now, JD, and Pepsi later. Oh dear me, I can't drink Jack Daniels. I really can't. It doesn't agree with me. It can get messy if I get into that American whiskey. Taking here 10 from the hotel kitchen. I'm working. Seen enough turkey today. Mine's a pint. Good for you, Scally. Yes. John, why not install a beer fridge in your music room? Because it makes sense. I could do that, couldn't I? Yes, I am having a change around. But that would be just too tempting. These are the 364 days of the year. Merry Christmas, Philip. How are you, mate? Jem's just going to check on the gammon. You'll be on the bourbon later, Dan. Oh, dear me. It's... I suspect there'll be a lot of hangovers tomorrow. Right, I feel sober enough to get drunk again. First can, here we go. Cheers. Well, cheers to you, Johnny. So, usually at some point in the live stream, I tell you, what's going to be coming up on the channel this week, and well, that's a very short list. I've got to tell you, there are no videos in the next 7 days. Oh, I know, sorry guys, but I'm taking a week off. I will be back on the 3rd of January, and first solo of that's a Monday. The first solo of the new year will be a Gary Moore solo. Yes, start as you mean to go on, and then I'm going to be talking on Tuesday. It will be back in the top 5 Tuesday. I'm going to be talking about 5 iconic, era-defining musical performances on TV. Then I think on the Wednesday, I will be doing I can't remember which way around this is, but I think it might be, I think it's the, I can't remember, but basically there's a kind of a guide to how I get tones out of the Twiggy Blues, the Sonicake Twiggy Blues, how I use that for doing bits and pieces with. Thursday, what am I doing on the Thursday? I can't remember. It's all planned, but basically the point is I'm having a week off, so that you'll just have to watch reruns of my old stuff over the next 7 days, which is just about right for Christmas, isn't it? That's the time when every broadcaster brings out all of the reruns and repeats and everything. So. Oh, Jem's saying the Gammon's okay, Theakston's better. Yes, I'll be joining you on the Theakstons at some point later on, mate. We'll see how we get on up here. I'm just going to keep this stream going until I run out of beer up here, and then we'll just go and get on with Christmas. Any tips on a muddy Fender Tele Bridge pickup, John? No, that's not something I've ever suffered from, really. If anything, it's the opposite. I've often found on cheap Telecasters, like cheap telecopies with ceramic pickups, the neck pickup can be like a bit muddy, but I've never had that problem with like a muddy sound on the bridge pickup. So I don't know if anybody else has got any thoughts on that. It might be the pickup. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea just to swap out the pickup just to test it. Get a Vanson Telecaster bridge pickup, because they're absolutely great and dirt cheap and all over eBay. It might be something to do with the wiring. I don't know. Maybe if your tone pot is a bit dodgy, the capacitor on that or something. I don't know. It's not something I've ever had any experience of. So, Les Robinson, are you talking about Drambuie there? I do like a drop of Drambuie, or Dramby you've said, but Drambuie I presume you mean. No, that's your grandma's favourite drink, isn't it? That and Advocaat. I got some new slippers for Christmas. I was hoping for a PRS. Yes, I got new slippers for Christmas. I've got all the usual stuff, I got this T-shirt. Thank you, Jem. Got a couple of nice bottles of whiskey. There's one which is the Glenlivet Caribbean Reserve, which is the rum cask single malt, which I'm going to be looking forward to trying that later. Isle of Jura, and my lovely, gorgeous wifey bought us both tickets to go and see the Classic Rock Show in February. So I shall be filling you in on all the details when we go and see that. That was just, I couldn't believe it. Open the card with these tickets in, and it was like, really, So I'm really properly looking forward to that. She done good there. Thoughts on Trappist ales? Can't say I'm familiar with them, mate. So just bought a Behringer fuzz pedal. It's bringing out the worst of me. Funny how a pedal can change your playing style. Yeah, I'm not really fond of fuzz. Talking about Behringer pedals, though, in the new year, I've got a review of this coming up. The Behringer Tube Amp Modeler. Okay. Do you remember that I think Joyo or Harley Benton British sound pedal, like a Marshall in a box? Very much a similar sort of thing, but this does it'll do a tweed, a British amp Marshall, obviously, and a Californian amp as well. So it's you've got essentially a tweed amp and a Marshall and a boogie in one pedal, and I'm not going to say it's exactly like the real thing, but it does deliver some really nice tones, and these are about 20 quid. So yeah, watch out for the review of that. Read yesterday, Clapton's management are dropping legal charges against lady selling bootleg CDs. Said she was not the main target. Okay, hadn't read about that, mate. Let's put you up on screen there, Geronimo. I early Christmas gifted myself a Harley Benton DC DLX Go to SG in Pelham Blue. Couldn't put it down for weeks. Yeah, I saw the Henning review. Of I think it was the Les Paul, like that, in a sort of, I think more Daphne blue kind of colour, and he gave it an absolutely glowing review. But you know, he is even more of a Harley Benton fanboy than I am, really, Henning, isn't he? Let's have a look at that. I bought a bottle of Glen Allen when I was up in Amber last month. Bloody lovely. Just a blended whiskey, but proper lush. 46% as well. Dear me. That'll get the job done, won't it? Oh, Craig's in. Merry Christmas, Craig. Do you still play through a real amp, John? Well, I play through an amp, which is, you know, real. It's... that little Yamaha THR there on the desk. But as I was saying earlier, I am looking at going more down the amplifier route rather than just using plugins all the time. I love the plugins. I love the especially bias amp. But I am thinking it would be just a good investment to get set up so that I can get an amp sound here and be able to, you know, road test amps as well, you know. So I'm going to be looking at going down the 2 notes torpedo captor route, you know, basically to save having the faff of having to mic stuff up and what have you, because that is the whole science really, that I would have to learn that whole kind of art of miking up an amp. Well, let the 2 notes thing do all the heavy lifting. So yeah, I am probably going to be looking at an amp. I'm not sure whether to get a combo, and just, you know, use the 2 notes thing to kind of go into the computer, or just I might as well just get a head and just use the torpedo captor to do that with. So then I'm starting to think about, like, you know, these lunchbox amps, like the orange one, and there's the Joyo Band amp kind of heads and stuff like that. So yeah, watch this space. I am going to be going down that path at some point, I imagine. Oh, I see Ozzy's in. How are you, Ozzy? We've missed you. Where have you been, mate? How about a valve amp? Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. Changes, strangers. Yeah, I am going to be looking at possibly one of those Joyo Band amps, or, as I said earlier, that Fender Champion 40 solid state amp, but some great tones out of it. And you know, I'm not really that much of a valve snob. Certainly not these days. I remember the awful solid state amps that you used to get in the late 70s and 80s and stuff, and they sounded horrible for the most part. But about 10 years ago, I remember doing some stuff with a PV Bandit, and dear me, those have come on in recent years, haven't they? You know, that was a very, very responsive, you know, valve-like tone from that amp. But you know, it's a PV, and PV isn't anybody's dream gear, is it? I think, you know, they're not one of those aspirational brands that people, you know, always kind of dream of owning. But what a great little amp, you know, good workhorse amp. Here we go. Daniel Cooper's in. How are you, Dan? The Fender Champ 40 takes pedals in the normal input, no effects loop. The clean channel pretty well, John. Yeah, I know that. But the thing is, it's got built-in effects, and for what I want effects for, I mean, usually, primarily, I'm going to be recording with the amp, and you know, I've got a whole selection box of effects that I can use in post-production, you know, in Reaper, that I can add to the sound. So, you know, it's the built-in effects on an amp. It's nice if they're there, you know, but it's not massively important to me whether they're there or an effects loop or whatever. It's the core tone that I'm really interested in on any amp. Well, let's just see what I've missed in the chat. Yeah, you've had a PV Bandit for over 10 years, Irish Stew. The thing is, I mean, the other thing about the PV Bandit as well as being a great sounding amp and just getting the job done, it's a PV. It's probably going to work underwater if need be. You know, they're just absolutely bulletproof in their, you know, in their reliability, I always find. So, you know, that's having been a Marshall owner for many years, you know, you get to appreciate things like turning your amp on and it actually working, because it's always a happy day when you turn on your Marshall and, you know, it works. I mean, I love Marshall gear, but you cannot accuse it of being reliable, I've always found. Boss Katana series are hard to beat, in my opinion. I have the Mark 150 watt version, has everything on board you'll ever need. Yeah, I had I think it was a Mark II Katana 50 in for review, and I don't know, I just found it, I mean, it sounded nice, but I just found the sounds difficult to access. Maybe I should have been less of a typical bloke, you know, and read the manual. But it was just all of these kind of controls on the Katana where, you know, it's the control does this if you kind of turn the inner control, and it's that if you turn the outer control, and if you press this button for 2 seconds it does that, and if you press it for 5 seconds it becomes something else. It was just a bit of a faff around to set up and get sounds out of. It wasn't my cup of tea in terms of the interface, the user friendliness of it. Maybe it says more about me than about the amp. I don't doubt that that's true, but it just wasn't. It didn't grab me in terms of like, oh yes, I really like this piece of kit, you know. Blackstar HT5R is great for upsetting the neighbours. Excuse me. More beer. I'm just trying to pour this and not get a ridiculous amount of flake-like head on it, but it's going to happen, isn't it? Because it's Carling. Oh, yeah, there we go. Flake, everyone. Now, yes. Vox Cambridge 50 with the Tone Lab app and the 5-channel switcher pedal. Now, as long-term viewers of this channel will know, I have a soft spot in my heart for the Vox Tone Lab. I used to use one exclusively for getting on for about 10 years. I used the Tone Lab as my main source of guitar tones, and absolutely loved it. It was only when it started getting a bit, unreliable and glitchy that I started looking at going down the sort of amp sims and impulse response kind of routes. But yeah, anything that's got the Vox Tone Lab associations, yeah, I'm going to be thinking that's probably going to be a great sound. All the good amps are intuitive. Yeah, and that was exactly my point with the Katana. It just didn't seem an intuitive amp, to use. I'm sure that once you read the manual and get used to it and study it, it would be, a good piece of kit. The other thing that that was a bit of a tick in the minus column for it was the way it USB'd into the computer. This little THR here, I've got that set up on that laptop that you can see just over there, and the Yamaha acts as a speaker system for that laptop. And when you try doing that with the Boss, okay, all of the effects and everything that you've got dialed in on the amp, like the overdrive, the reverb and everything, they get applied to the audio that's coming out of the computer, which isn't really ideal, There are workarounds for it apparently, but it's just like you shouldn't need to kind of have to do that. For me, it's like, who at the Roland Boss, factory thought, I know what we'll do. We'll make it so that when you're playing music back through the amp, it applies, flange and overdrive to it. It just seems to be not particularly well thought out. Oh, Johnny Love's in. Happy festivities all. I've just remembered the Christmas live stream. Yes, read manuals. I'm a bloke. I never read manuals. That's a last resort. It's like, when you're putting something self-assembly together, you never read the instructions, do you? Of course you don't, Chrissy, present myself a spanking Squire Deluxe. I fitted Kinman Impersonator 54 pickups and Stagging Lockheed tuners, hence no string trees and a 0 fret. Well, that sounds like a nice piece of kit you got there, mate. As I say, I can't guarantee I'll get to the end of this day today without ordering one of those Sire Larry Carlton T7s. That one that, I don't know what he's called on Guitaristas, but you know the guy. Looks like the epitome of the kind of guitar tech roadie to a rock star, Looks like he could drink a crate of special brew, do a full fret level and crown, rewire a guitar, then do the and then just have a good night's sleep on a window ledge somewhere. But he was reviewing the T7 in a video I watched yesterday. Beautiful guitar in sort of an antique white with a tortoiseshell pickguard. Oh dear me, yes, it got my juices flowing a little bit, I have to tell you. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Ozzy. Paul McCartney was pure class on that documentary, but we knew that, didn't we? The thing that came across from that Beatles Get Back documentary, as I think I said in the video on Thursday, was Paul was the one who was, he was treating the whole thing professionally. I thought, he was turning up and trying to get some content created, trying to get some songs written and some arrangements sorted out. And he was swimming against the tide a little bit, it seemed. Yes, this was a T-shirt from my mate Jem, who's in the chat there. It's it made me giggle, I have to say. It's I just hope that YouTube approve of it. I like a manual, says Ian. Does that make me odd? Oh, yes. Well, I'm tempted to say you're not a proper bloke if you read the manual. Thank you very much, Dennis. You're a gentleman. It's, as I said earlier, it's the videos are just my end of the seesaw. The videos wouldn't be worth anything without all of you people, wonderful people, watching the videos, making comments, subscribing to the channel, and even if even if you disagree with me and make a comment that that you think I'm an idiot or something, then even that helps. So so even the badge snobs who I upset a few videos ago, they all helped me out. Thank you one and all. I'm late to the party. Happy Christmas, everyone. Just opened my digital piano from Santa. Maybe help my guitar theory. Well, yeah. I mean, the thing about any kind of keyboard instrument is that you approach it from a different perspective. You approach it from the perspective of, this is where the notes are, this is what the notes are, this is where they are, and this is what notes are in this chord, and this is what notes are in that chord. And if I want to play that scale, then it has these notes in it. So you're kind of thinking more in a note-aware way of playing right from the outset with a keyboard, which on a guitar, you just aren't. The way you start learning to play the guitar, it's very much, put your fingers into this shape and it makes the right noise, don't ask questions. And that gets you going quicker, but it does, it does come back and bite you later on if you because you just don't have any, you just don't get into that way of thinking about what notes you're playing, which can be a hindrance later. The Tone Lab yeah, let's put you up on the screen, Ray. The Tone Lab through on computer has never failed. I've been using it since they came out. Great sound. I use it more than my AC15 because you can attenuate it down from memory to 0.5 of a watt. Yeah, that is quite the thing, isn't it? It's a student of mine. Oh, many years ago, he was earning absolute silly money doing sort of contracting work, and he bought himself a Gibson Les Paul Custom and a Marshall stack, and he brought it, the whole stack and everything, to a lesson. And it's like, well, I can't get it sounding like it should. Well, you do know that this is an amp that needs to be cranked right the way up to, kind of window rattling, ear bleeding volumes before you can get it, before it'll sound the way you expect it to sound. So valve amps especially, that you can attenuate down to half a watt or something like that, you crank them up so that you've got a very, very low powered amp, but kind of straining at the leash, and that's when you get that sound. 100 watt Marshall head like this guy had, you turn the volume just as far as 1 and it was too loud, and it wasn't a particularly good sound that was too loud, Yeah, I noticed that as well, Geronimo. Lennon coming in late every day and just messing around all the time. By the second episode of the documentary, I could barely stand it. Yeah, he was. You could, you could tell. I think on that early parts, certainly the Twickenham Studios part of that documentary, that you know, Paul was the only one whose heart was really in it. But then I think when they moved to Savile Row, and especially when Billy Preston came in, that's when things started getting done, and they all seemed like actually interested in the music again. And at the end of that, the performance on the rooftop, I wonder if that young police constable has ever lived that down, by the way. I was the guy who stopped the Beatles' final ever live performance. They looked like a band who were having fun and who could have continued. Maybe if they'd taken, which is not unusual, in this day and age, taken a year off, just go and chill out, get a solo album, out of each of them out of the systems, and then come back and reconvene. And it would have been. It's one of the great what ifs, isn't it? You made the same mistake when you had a TSL 60. Yeah, that's it. It's Marshall. I'm a big fan of the Marshall sound. It's my favourite guitar sound. By the way, I've been told I have to give a plug for this. January the 12th. I know it's a long way off. I know we're not really thinking about January at the moment, but January the 12th, my unboxing music, that sort of fast rockabilly kind of tune that I usually kind of do when I'm doing the speeded up footage of when I'm unboxing stuff. Well, I've had a few requests to do a video about that, but the problem is I recorded that tune about 6 years ago, and I didn't video myself recording it. I recorded it in Cakewalk, which I don't use anymore. I don't think I even still have the Cakewalk file, the project file. So I decided to just re-record the whole thing, and a little bit of a video on it coming up on January the 12th. And when I was choosing a sound, I thought this is kind of a rockabilly kind of thing. Yeah, I should use like a Fender Twin sound, or maybe Fender Bassman, or Blues Deluxe, or something like some kind of Fender amp sound. And the only thing that sounded right was when I just dialed in a Marshall tone. So even when I'm playing music that you don't normally associate with Marshall tones, it's the only tone that makes me sound like me, I think. So I'm a huge fan of that Marshall sound, but it's just, it's not the easiest tone to get in a home environment, with like, a big, kind of Marshall head and, 4x12s and stuff. It just, you've got to attenuate it and, just work a lot harder to get it, which is why I think the tone I ended up using on that reworking of that rockabilly tune is the Blue Cat preamp. Great little plug-in. If you're looking for a good sounding plug-in for like a rock tone, just download the Blue Cat preamp and go for it on the classic drive setting. It's a fantastic sounding guitar tone, like really kind of Marshall plexi sound. I use it all the time, and it's, as I say, it's free. So Let's put this. A while back you upgraded a Yamaha Pacifica with a humbucker and a P90, which I did to my old Pacifica. This has now become my go-to guitar for gigs as it all has all the right tones every time. Yeah, I did do that. I took a Pacifica 112 and put a humbucker and a P90 into it. And it was a great guitar. And I was just offered good money for it. So I sold it and didn't sort of like, it wasn't like a massive regret. But it was always, yeah, I wish I still had that. So like recently I've just bought the Pacifica 311H, which is an absolute fantastic guitar. It's a great sound. Just that humbucker P90 combination is, absolutely fabulous, I think. Do you use IRs on your amp plugins, John? Yes, I do. I use, I've got a bunch of, again, free ones from Red Wires with a Z, impulse responses, and I think I'm using an SM57 plug-in, on a vintage 30. I know it's cliched and everything, an SM57 on a vintage 30, but it's, it works and it gives me the sound that I like. So I use that on the Blue Cat free amp, and occasionally, if I'm using bias amp, I'll probably just use the built-in impulse responses. But every now and again, I'll use the Red Wires, that plugin I've just mentioned, that IR I've just mentioned. So, Vincent Doyle, you are a gentleman. Thank you very much. Let's raise a glass to Vincent. Cheers, mate. Thank you so much. That is very, very generous of you. I don't know what to say. Other than, I'd better have another beer. Some reckon that the Beatles were considered great today purely because they stopped in their prime and didn't stick around to sully their reputation. Yeah, I suppose there's some truth to that, isn't it? Always want them leaving more. I know Jem's probably downstairs watching on the laptop and grumbling because he's not a Beatles fan, isn't Jem? But I am, so there you go. And I don't buy into this thing either, that you're either a Beatles fan or a Stones fan. I'm a huge Stones fan and I'm a huge Beatles fan. How many guitars have you got, John? Let's have a count up. There's Blondie over there. That's one. There's the Harley Benton Les Paul copy 2. There's my bass. That's 3. The Frankenstein Telly, that's 4. Harley Benton PRS knockoff, you can see there, that's 5. The acoustic in the corner, 6. There's the Nashville Telly, that's 7. There's the Glary Telecaster, which is the one that you can just see here, that's 8. There's the Offset up there that's built by Pete Nelson. Thank you, Pete. That's 9. Then I've got a black Harley Benton ST57, that's 10. Then there's the Pacifica 311, that's 11. And there's the Sire Larry Carlton, that's 12. So there you go. Yeah, the Beatles versus Stones was great marketing. Let's put you up on screen there, Geronimo. For me, it's Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin. Beatles are all right, though, the most influential. Don't care too much for the strolling ones, as Benny Hill referred to them. Yeah, the strolling bones. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Offset's, Brett, but that one sort of might be kind of changing my mind. It was built and given to me as a gift, and just the lack of, all of the kind of switches and rollers and, all those kind of things that you get on like a Jazz Master or something that make it look cluttered and lumpy, because it lacks that. To me, that just looks, especially with the way the wood grain is going on, it looks really sleek, I think, and it's just a bit different. Anyway, chaps, I've got to go and check on the gammon downstairs. It has been absolutely fantastic that nearly 100 of you have chose to come and have a beer with me on Christmas morning. So I'll just take this opportunity once again to wish you all a fantastic Merry Christmas. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Get as drunk as a skunk, I intend to, and live and live life and have a Merry Christmas, and just have a great time. Right, I'm going to go and just check on Christmassy things and continue drinking. So thank you once again, everyone. Merry Christmas, and I'll see you all on the next one. Bye for now.